Capre deemed this budget is just for a formality for the sake of keeping the tradition of presenting a budget. Okay, no issues. We are not uh, going to discuss. We are going to discuss only what is in the budget rather than for what it is a budget, because in exam generally they are focusing on this thing only. CA, we sir, we are waiting. Yeah, okay, sorry. Actually, there was some issue. It was not getting live. I was ready with this thing. So, in last class, what we have discussed, in last class, I told you about some historical underpinning. Okay, I told you about historical underpinnings of budget, right? Historical underpinning of the budget, and when the budget process was started, then railway budget, why it was separated, then why later it was merged, and I also explained you why we do present the budget on 1st of February rather than February end. One more thing, means the first budget was presented in 1947, 26th of November 1947. It was presented by R.K. Shammukham Chetty, right? Because we got independence on 15th of August, that means financial year was already started. So the interim budget was presented. In today's lecture, I will explain you what is interim budget. Generally, at the year of election, interim budget is presented, right? But it not necessary in the year of election. This budget is going to be presented. I will explain you what is interim budget. So we did the all historical underpinnings. Siddharth Chandan, crypto 30%. Come on, we will discuss it later. Now just focus here. Okay, we will discuss crypto and all things. I'll explain the crypto and why government has put on this higher side of the taxes. I will tell you what rationale they have. Maybe some people will get agree, some people will disagree, right? And I always agree to disagree, and agree to disagree, disagree to agree. Means I'm always politically neutral when I'm with my students, right? And it is, should be with all teachers. They should be politically neutral. If you are going to be politically neutral when you are going to deliver your lecture, you have to provide both positive and negative, right? And let the students to decide what they feel is good or bad. Our duty as a teacher is always provide the rational analysis of each and everything without being politically motivated, right? So this is my duty and I will discharge my duty. Rest is up to you, what you feel good or what you feel bad. It's up to you. What you feel government is good or bad, it's up to you. I'm not going to tender my personal view because here I'm a teacher and my duty is what? To provide the knowledge rather than influence. Okay, so let's start the process. After historical underpinning, we have to move towards where, as I mentioned in the last class, we will move towards legal, constitutional part of budgeting. I will try to wind it up today itself, the entire part, legal constitutional. But sometimes, in order to make you understand properly, maybe it will take today's complete time and half of the time of the next class. But understanding should be like that. You can just read and listen one time. You will be always having the clarity in your mind. Fine. So once this part will be over, then I will move towards this year's budget, expenditure, and each and everything, right? And some students are asking about economic survey. So yes, both this year's budget 2022-2023 budget and economic survey, both will be discussed, and both will be discussed in detail, especially for the budget 2023 with all related schemes and each and everything. So I am going to take this thing in the detail in the following lectures. For economic survey, I will try to limit, because economic survey, see, this is the economic survey, and in this economic survey you can see here 442. So this is the document which have total 442. pages, right? So this is the document of economic survey. So huge document with huge data, and that is not required for your exam. Fine. So I am not going to discuss in detail economic survey in such a length, but I will go through all important points and I will discuss with you regarding economic survey. Fine, but it will come in the upcoming classes. Today we are going for legal constitutional part. When I was discussing about functions of RBI, I told you that RBI functions as a bank to government of India and state government, right? I told you this thing, and to explain you this thing, I told you also कि government of India, for government of India there are basically three primarily accounts. One is consolidated fund, next is public account fund, and third is contingency fund. It is mentioned in Article 266(1). It is mentioned in Article 266(3) of Indian Constitution, and it is mentioned under Article 267. When I was explaining you about the consolidated fund, I told you money, all expenditure and receipts of Government of India shall be from this account. All expenses and all receipts shall be from this account. Number one. Number two, this part I have not emphasized, only this part I have emphasized while discussing the lecture on RBI function. I have not discussed the second part of this consolidated fund. The second part is what? The second part is no money can be withdrawn, or the better word is no money can be appropriated from this account without an authority of law. Without an authority of law, you cannot withdraw any money from this account, right? Or you cannot deposit. When the term appropriation is used, it is used in context of what this word is explaining. You cannot withdraw, you cannot deposit any money in this account without an authority of law. That means if you want to withdraw money from Consolidated Fund of India, if you want to deposit any money in the Consolidated Fund of India, you have to pass a law. Law should be made, and that law is going to allow government to withdraw any money or deposit any money in this account. Now question arises, why government will make a law? Because all expenditures and receipts of government shall be from consolidated fund. So all expenses and all receipts shall be means mandatory from where? Consolidated fund. So it is mandatory to spend, and it is mandatory to deposit all of your money which you are going to receive or spend from consolidated fund. And in order to withdraw or deposit, that is appropriation, you must pass a law. So without law, it is not possible. So because of this constitutional provision, government is bound to present its expenses and receivings, all these things in the parliament, right? Now, in our constitution, right, it is divided into different parts. Our constitution is divided into total 24 or 25 parts, and the part 1 of our constitution, it deals with what? Union and its territory. Second part deals with citizenship. Third part deals with fundamental rights. Fourth part deals with what? Fourth part deals with anyone? What is in the fourth part? Directive principle of state policy. And in the fifth part, that is, there is a union, and in the union it's divided into three parts: executive, parliament, and judiciary, right? The fifth part is comprised of executive, parliament, and union judiciary. So how the bill is going to be presented in the parliament and how it is going to be passed, it is clearly mentioned in our constitution. And as I told you, here there is a process for expenses and receivings. So that is why in our constitution there is another article there, that is article 112, right? Article 112, and it tells about annual financial statement. Annual financial statement. See, you guys are preparing for this exam, RBI grade B. Then whatever the article I am mentioning, it is not important for you. You cannot worry about ki I don't know this article, right? Absolutely need not to worry. Those guys who are preparing for UPSC exam or any other exam where they do ask GA, general awareness, and that GA general awareness is also inclusive of polity something kind of the thing, they can pay attention to articles also. Otherwise, those people who are here for RBI grade B only, there is no need to pay attention. You have to pay attention here rather than here. Article no need to remember. Fine. So this is the disclaimer for all RBI grade B. Otherwise, you will be put yourself in unnecessary trouble. Okay. So annual financial statement. So annual financial statement, it is mentioned, and this annual financial statement in the common man's language, it is budget. So first of all, I don't want to do this thing, but because it's a part, so that's why I'm telling you, because sometimes people get offensive when I try to correct their pronunciation. I don't want, because sometimes even I'm also wrong while pronouncing the things, and even I have some spelling mistake issues also. I accept it. But the budget is pronunciated as a budget. It's a budget, not budget, right? It's not budget, it is budget. And especially it is coming from the French origin budget, right, which means a leather bag, right? So which means a leather bag. In that leather bag, the document of all expenses and receivings will come. That's why this tradition is being taken. And even if you will go back to the history, even in the ancient times, in Greek civilization, because in the Greek civilization there was an existence of democracy. So in that democratic system, what they have to do, they have to present their expenses and receipts to the council. Council is comprising of lawmakers, and you have to present, means king have to present all the expenses and receivings in what? In the council. And at that point of time there is no existence of paper, so on the skin of hunted animals they write those things and they roll it, and they will make a bag, and that bag was known as butsei, right? In French language this is buze. So that butsei become buze, and in English it become budget, right? And in India it become budget. Fine. So accents are different. For example, in my hometown, Kanpur, there is a place that is known as Mac Roberts Ganj. The place name is Mac Roberts Ganj, but people made it Makrawat Ganj. Right. So it was Mac Roberts Ganj, but now it is known as Makrawat Ganj. Right. So similarly, it was budget for the British, but for Indians, it is now budget. Fine. With no offense to anyone. So for us, it is budget. For constitutional language, it is annual financial statement. Right? Now, what it is written here, it is very important. Please pay attention to this part. Annual financial statement. Annual financial statement. Fine. So, annual financial statement, first thing which is very important here is for Government of India, for every year. Though it is not clearly mentioned financial year, but implicit is financial year. For every year you have to present. Number one, you have to present every year. ये नहीं कि means like for 2000 when the government was formed, I have presented and it is going to be remain same. Next year भी वही copy paste करके रख देना. It's not like that. You cannot do the copy paste kind of thing. You have to present a separate kind of the statement every year, right? So every year you have to present the annual financial statement, right? And how it is being presented, right? It should be have this annual financial statement. This annual financial statement must have two different part. One is what? One is the statement of expenditure and other should be receipts. It is mentioned in constitution. It is mentioned in constitution. For your reference, this is one of the book, means this is known as a Bear Act. It is also used in the courtrooms. Judges use this book also whenever they want to see the particular article of the constitution. They use this book, Bear Act, right? So I have this book for your reference. So whatever I'm telling you on the basis of facts only, no imagination, right? So expenses and receipts, it should be presented separately. Number one, and even in expenditure, it should be also presented in two different ways. Expenditure must be presented in two different ways. First way is type A. For your just understanding, type A. In type A, government have to present expenditure charged upon consolidated fund of India. Second part, you have to mention expenditure from consolidated fund of India. I will explain what is the difference between expenditure charge upon and expenditure from. I will explain. But just for second thing, in the second categorization, you have to mention capital expenditure and revenue expenditure. So you have to present expenses properly. Receipts, again, it is also presented in the form of revenue receipts and capital receipts. Revenue receipts and capital receipts. Now, why expenditure, charge upon and from? When I said expenditure, charge upon, if you remember in the last class, I told you the process of presenting the budget, the process of presenting the budget in the parliament, the process of presenting budget in parliament properly, it was started in year 1924. Before that, it was not presented in the parliament, right? Sorry, 1921. 1921, the process was started to present the budget in the parliament in 1921, and I told you some part will be what? Discussed and voted, whereas some part is going to be only discussed but not for voting. And I told you also why it is not being voted, because some expenses are for some authorities. If if, for example, judge's salary or CAG salary or election commissioner's salary, if it is going to be voted, then executive means government can influence their working. So that is why some part can be discussed but cannot be put forward for the vote. So all those expenses discussed, which can be discussed but cannot be voted in the parliament. It can be discussed but cannot be voted in the parliament. They come under the category of what? They come under the category of charged upon consolidated fund. Charge upon consolidated fund. Is it clear? Charge upon consolidated fund. Clear? Okay, fine. And those expenditure can be discussed. Those expenditures which can be discussed and voted, they are from consolidated fund of India, right? But here only discussion, no voting, right? If you want to discuss, you can discuss, but you cannot vote. So this is one way of presenting the expenditure. Now, what is capital expenditure and what is revenue expenditure? Pay attention, because it is very important for the proper understanding of country's economy. Capital expenditure, sometimes in short, it is known as capex. So this terminology is now very popular among the newspaper media person. They are using the capex. So capex means capital expenditure, right? So capital expenditure and the revenue expenditure. So when government is going to spend the money, on what? When the government is going to spend the money on health, education, social sector schemes. So while spending this money, government do not expect any return income will come. Means if I am spending the money, I do not feel this money is going to come back to us. For example, when your parents are spending money on your education, it is not like that. Means I don't think this situation can be there. But just imagine, means your parents have spent a lot of money on your education, and finally when you started preparation, they also supported you financially and morally. They have supported you, and with the grace of God and with your good hard work, you got selected in RBI grade B and you have joined. So after joining the job, you work for a month, and once the month is completed, you got your first salary. And after getting the first salary, you got emotional. Went to the sweet shop and shop of the clothes, where you have purchased the clothes for your parents and your family members, and sweet, and you will came back to home. Mom is waiting and she opened the door, kind of aarti was being done. Then you come to the room, sweet is distributed, and after that your parents called you ki come, we have to discuss few things. And you got excited, maybe some surprise will be there. And your father just taken a diary, and in that diary, and he told you, you see my son or daughter, when you went to the school first time, we have taken you in that reputed school, and fees was so you got emotional. But after that, dad and mom started telling you कि this money we have spent it there, this money we have spent it there. So till then date, total amount of expenses is like this, and considering the market interest rate around 6 to 7%, the total amount with interest will be like that. Now you have to tell me what should be the EMI you want to repay us. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I know it's never going to happen. But this is why when, because sometimes students get arguing ki why education, if we will get education we will make the money. But spending by the government is not expectation. Whatever you are going to give your parents, right? Gift, clothes, whatever you are going to, that is voluntary. That is voluntary you are going to give. It is not kind of the pursuance. They are not going to give you the legal notice. Okay, now you have to pay us back. It's never like that. Fine. So this is why when government spend any money and government do not expect कि some kind of the return income will be there, right? Means dadi came to your home, now she is going back, so you have an expectation कि she will call you and she will give some money, so that is expectation. So that is expectation, right? So government do not have an expectation when they go for expenses like this, and that is why the expenses of the government where government do not expect return income, they are known as revenue expenditure, right? That is revenue expenditure. Whereas those expenses which always have a potential and expectation for the government to generate the income, they are known as capital expenditure, right? So, infrastructure. Infrastructure. So, infrastructure expenses will always come what? Infrastructure will always come under the category of what? Infrastructure will always come under the category of capital expenditure, right? I'll tell you one secret here. Generally, when I'll take this part for civil services aspirant in offline proper way, the proper offline classroom way. Class is going to be like 4.5 hours or even 5 hours or 6 hours because nobody want to leave. Neither me nor the student, they don't want to leave. They would want to continue because they want to finish it. But in online setup, even me or all of you, it is not possible. So whatever the time we do have, completely put your focus here only so that each and everything is going to be crystal clear for you, right? So I explained you about the revenue expenditure, I explained you about the capital expenditure. So any money you are going to spend to purchase, for example, how I will recognize that is my capital expenditure or my revenue expenditure. If I am going to spend money on car which is for my personal use, it is my revenue expenditure. If I am going to put that car in some travel agency or I will put that car for the Ola and Uber services and hire the driver, then that money is going to be what? Then that money is going to be capital expenditure. I am going to purchase a home for me, right? I am going to purchase home for me so that I can stay and live there. That is revenue expenditure. But if I am going to spend that money on home loan and intention is what? To purchase it right now, later on I will sell it out, right? Then it is capital expenditure. So why I'm emphasizing? Why I'm emphasizing on the intention? Why I'm emphasizing on the motive? The reason is tax. If you are purchasing the home for your own purpose, then you can expect some tax relief in the home loan. You can expect some tax relief in the home loan. But why you will expect tax relief when you are putting the capital expenditure? Because you are expecting the money. You are expecting the money, so government is also expecting the money from you, right? So that is why sometimes some part of the home loan, some home loans comes under the category of what? There is some kind of tax relief, but in all home loans there is no tax relief, right? So this is the philosophy to understand the tax also. If you will understand the expenditure, right, it is easier for you to understand tax also. Clear? Sekhar Chuman, please pay attention. I have just explained the expenditure part. I have not explained the revenue receipts part. It is going to be clear when I will explain this receipts part. It is automatically going to clear. Just understand what I explained you right now. What I explained you right now, till then right now, is it clear or not? Okay. Now, I will come to your question. Whosoever is Mr. A run, I will explain difference between money and capital, but just focus on this thing right now. I'll take it to your question later, but focus here right now, what I'm explaining right now. So now I have explained expenses. Now I am going to explain you about the revenue receipts and capital receipts. I am giving it a very simple example. A person A is having the salary of 40,000, right? He is having the salary of 40,000, right? 40,000 rupees salary, and he also bought some loan. He also bought some loan of, suppose that 2 lakhs, right? He bought the loan of 2 lakhs, plus in his ancestor place village, means ancestor place village, and in his village some property was there, and that property was sold out by the combined family people, and he got some 5 lakh rupees, right? He got some 5 lakh rupees. So person A have a salary, monthly salary of 40,000. So his annual salary is 4.8 lakh, right? Its annual salary is 4.8 lakh plus 2 lakh as a loan, and 5 lakh this year he received in the form of what? Selling of asset, right? So 4.8 plus this is salary, right? This is loan and this is asset. So how much total he got? How much total he got? Hmm? 11.8 lakh. So this is his total receipts. This is his total receipts. And out of this total receipts, 40,000 or 4.8 lakh, and other part is 7 lakh. Now please pay your utmost attention to understand this thing. 4.8 lakh is his revenue receipts. In short, I can write it revenue receipts, and 7 lakh it is capital receipts. 4.8 lakh is its revenue receipts, right? And rest of the part is what? Capital receipts. Now question arises, why I have put this money or the salary in the form of revenue receipts, right? Please be focused and listen very carefully. When we want to do a job, right, we want to earn the money. What is the primarily objective to earn the money? The primary objective, the first objective to fulfill our basic needs. To fulfill our basic needs. This is the primary reason why we want to earn. I'm talking about person like you and me, right? This is the primary purpose why I'm working. This is the primary person why you want to join, right? A prestigious job. The primary thing is what? You should get sufficient money in order to fulfill your basic needs. Fine? Is it clear? Right? So the primary need is to fulfill our basic requirements. Okay. Whereas if we are able to save some money, then we will put this money in the bank or share market or something like schemes where I can go for, or you can go for savings and investments, right? Savings and investments. Fine. So this is the primary way when we earn the salary. Now this 2 lakh he took the loan, right? This 2 lakh he took the loan, whereas 5 lakh he got by the selling of the assets, right? Now the objective of loan can be two objective. One is to fulfill certain primary needs. Okay, for example, there is some problem in the family or hospitalization bill or something like that, which is unavoidable, and for that you took the loan. One reason, one reason for this loan, right? Other reason for this loan is what? Other reason for this loan, he want to take this money and he want to invest. He want to invest so that he can start some more earnings, right? He can start some more earning, and with that earning he is taking 2 lakh rupees loan so that he can start earning some money, right? So suppose that he is going to start earning 5,000 in a month, right? 5,000 in a month, that means in a year he is going to earn 60,000, right? And with interest he have to pay 3,60,000. With interest he have to pay 3,60,000, and he is going to earn 60,000 in a year. So in a 6 years, in a 6 years, his loan is going to be over. His loan is going to be over. Then this money will be in his income part. This money is going to be added in his income part, because when he has taken this 2 lakh rupees as a loan, he started earning 5,000, but this 5,000 is going to use only for repayments of the loan with interest. But after 6 years, when his loan is going to be over, this seventh year onwards, he can start using this 5,000 rupees either to increase his life standard, like means he can use this money for better consumption, or he can use this money for better savings, right? So when a person is taking loan, when a person is taking a loan, there will be two objectives. One is to fulfill the basic requirement, or other objective is what? Other objective is to invest that money so that he can use that money in terms of what? For more income generation, right? So whenever now I am coming to the government. Till then here it is clear. What I explained, it is clear. Okay, fine. So I was talking in terms of what? Individual, like you and me. Now let's talk about the government, right? So government also show its receipts in revenue receipts and capital receipts. Okay, revenue receipts and capital receipts. Now you can say that, sir, where government is going to do the job? What can do the salary? So when government is collecting the tax, when government is collecting the tax is not something like that ki you are paying the tax because of your wish or will. It's not your wish or will to pay the tax. You are bound to pay your taxes, and government is bound to take some amount of your income in the form of tax. So government, for government, it is their income, right? It is their income, but in the accounting clarity, we will use as a receipts whatever we have received, because the intention of the government is not like our intention. Our intention is what? Our intention is when we are getting this amount of salary, 4.8 lakh, this salary, when we are getting, some amount we are going to spend and some amount we are going to save. Government is not going to save that money. Government is going for what? Government first of all will go for this kind of the expenditure. The mandatory expenditure, health, education, such kind of the expenditure. Rest of the money government is going to create what? Infrastructure. So government is not going to put that money in the form of cash for its better future. Government, whatever is going to receive, it is going to spend. Spend where? Spend either health, education, like basic things for the government to provide the basic facility to their citizens. First requirement. Second, if something is going to left, then it is going to be invested or put as an expenditure where there is a possibility to generate more income in the future, right? So this is why when government receive the money from the taxes or fees, fine, dividend, so all this money will come in the form of revenue receipts. They have received the revenue receipts. But when you are going to get money, now pay attention, when you are going to get money which is going to create a liability or decrease your assets. Money which is going to create a liability or decrease your assets. Now come back to this man's example. When he took this loan of 2 lakh, he has created a liability to pay 3.6 lakh. Okay. When he got this 5 lakh by selling of asset, right? So earlier he was having more amount of land as an asset, but now that asset is being sold and he received the money. So whenever government is going to receive the money in the form of liability, that means all loans taken by government, all loans taken by the government will come under the category of capital receipts. Number one. When government is going to sell what? Government is going to sell its shares in Life Insurance Corporation of India. The money is going to be received. So right now government have larger control in the LIC and government is going to sell their shares. So government assets is going to decrease, right? Whenever government is going to sell any asset, right, like their shares in the PSU or anything like that, they are going to do that thing. Then what will happen? Then that money will go to the capital receipts. Why capital receipts? I will explain. But tell me, is it clear or not? Can you identify whether it is revenue receipts or capital receipts? Can you identify right now? Is it revenue receipts or capital receipts? Are you able to identify? Let me know. This point is clear or not? Okay. So revenue receipts and capital receipts is clear, right? Now let's see why government will go for capital expenditure, right? See, for government, the point is what? Government have limited income from taxes and all. Government have limited income. So for country like India, that income or the whatever we are receiving the tax in the form of tax, it is going only to fulfill revenue expenditure. Even sometimes whatever we are earning means what government of India is getting in the form of revenue receipts. Whatever the government is getting in the form of revenue receipts, it is not sufficient to fulfill revenue expenditure. It is not sufficient to fulfill Sir, RR are received by the government, but CRR expense to the government, not expense, liability, liability. Right now, see, I am telling you the revenue expenditure. We have an issue. Government of India. This is for question for all of you. This is the question for all of you. Government of India have a situation. We have revenue expenditure of, suppose, 10 lakh crores, right? We have revenue expenditure of 10 lakh crores, whereas our revenue receipts. This is question for all of you. You have to put your thoughts here. Revenue receipts are of 9 lakh crores, right? 9 lakh crores. That means we are short of 1 lakh crore. Government of India is short of 1 lakh crore. Now option A. Option A, borrow 1 lakh crores and fulfill revenue expenditure. Option A. Option B is borrow 3 lakh crores, or not 3 lakh crores, borrow 5 lakh crores and out of it spend 1 lakh crores to fulfill revenue expenditure and rest 4 lakh crore as a capital expenditure, so that sources of income can be created. Sources of income can be created. So, as a finance minister of India, what do you think? Which is the better option? Option A or option B? Just borrow 1 lakh crore and fulfill the revenue expenditure. Second option is what? Second option is you can borrow 5 lakh crore. Out of that 1 lakh crore you can spend that money, where you can spend that money 1 lakh crore to fulfill your revenue expenses, and 4 lakh crore rupees as what? 4 lakh crore rupees as a. Chetan is saying that option B. Vad is saying that option B. CA is saying that option A. Why option A? Why do you feel that option A is better? Revenue budget and capital budget separated, but ultimately you have to pay na. If you will borrow 1 lakh crore only, right? Next year, what is going to happen? If you will borrow 1 lakh crore rupees right now in order to fulfill your expenditure, you borrowed the 1 lakh crore rupees. Okay. Next year, you have to pay principal amount plus interest amount on this 1 lakh crores, right? Now, the counter argument is, ki, sir, if I will borrow 5 lakh crore rupees, even then I have to pay the principal amount and interest amount. Yes, you have to pay principal amount plus interest amount. Yes, in both cases, you are going to pay the principal amount and interest amount. But in the second case of 5 lakh crores, next year, this is also going to be increased. For example, it is going to be increased by 20,000 crores. So this increased income you can use to pay your principal and interest amount. This increased income you can use to pay your principal and interest amount. And when your principal and interest amount will be paid, then you can use this money for better health, better education, better social services for your countrymen. Right? So this is why. This is is this point is clear? Why government will borrow 5 lakh crores? Yes, Charu, Anjali, Raj, Venkat, Varg. Yes. Option B. So now understand. Now from here understand why borrowing is part of every year's budget. Why borrowings is a part of every year's budget? Because what is philosophy? Philosophy is we will borrow first whatever money is short to fulfill this revenue expenses. We will fulfill our revenue expenses. Rest of the money, what we will do? We will invest that money in order to increase our income. What is the purpose of increasing our income? The purpose is whatever the increased income is going to be there, we will use this money first to pay principal amount and interest amount. And when that principal and interest is going to be over, we will use this money for better facilities, means we can use for better revenue expenses. So this is why every year government borrow huge amount of money. So that in future we can increase our what infrastructure, source of income generation, plus we can provide the better facilities to our citizens. Okay, clear? Okay, if it is clear, can I write this budget revenue and expenditure? Revenue and expenditure, or here I have used incorrect word, receipts, sorry. We can use this term receipts, and here it is revenue receipts, and here it is capital receipts. Revenue expenditure, and here it is capital expenditure. In short, RR, it is CR, it is RE, it is CE. Okay. So now my question is, I have one question for you. If you understood this thing, I told you if we will borrow, then this borrowing will go to revenue receipts or capital receipts, RR or CR. This borrowing will go to RR or CR. In short, just you have to answer me RR or CR. If we will borrowing, then it will go to RR or CR. The borrowing part. Very good. It will go to CR, capital receipts. Okay. No, 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 no. Why revenue? It will go to CR Venkat. It will go to CR capital receipts because borrowings are going to create a liability. So any liability will be part of what? Capital receipts. Prachi, very good. CR capital receipts. Acha. If you got this point, right? Ki borrowings will go to capital receipts. Now, as we all know, if we will borrow, we have to pay principal amount plus interest amount, right? We have to pay, that means it will be part of our expenditure. If we will borrow, then we have to repay, and we have to repay, we will call it as our expenditure. Okay. Now, I have a question for you. My question is, this PA means principal amount plus interest amount. Interest amount both will be part of RE. Both will be part of RE. This is option A. Option B is PA plus IA, interest amount, is going to be the part of CE. Third option is PA principal amount at CE, interest amount will be RE. That is your option C. Option D is principal amount, it is going to be what? RE. Interest amount is going to be CE. 4 options you have. Before telling your answer, think and then answer. I told you, I'm just giving you the hint. We will call it as a revenue expenditure when it is a liability on us. It is mandatory for us. We must have to pay it, right? We must have to pay it, and we will call it as a capital expenditure when that expenditure or that spending is going to give some income to us. So this is the nature of capital expenditure. Now you have to answer. Principal will go to CE. Chetan is saying that. See, capital expenditure is always going to give you the income. Means this capital expenditure is basically for what? This capital expenditure is basically in future you want to increase this. Okay, you want to increase this. In future you want to increase this amount, that is why you are doing the capital expenditure. However, because your revenue expenses are very high and your revenue income is low, that is why sometimes you have to borrow even for fulfilling your revenue expenditure. That is part, but the basic objective is what? To spend the money so that your income can be increased. This is the main objective of capital expenditure. Whereas revenue expenditure is for what? Fulfilling your basic requirement. Word is saying that A, D, A, C. Okay. Okay. I will explain. I will explain so that thing will be very clear for you. Then I think the clarity will be there. Those people who are saying this principal amount will go to revenue expenditure and interest amount is going to be capital expenditure, they are wrong. Answer is principal amount will go to what? Principal amount will go to capital expenditure and interest amount will go to revenue expenditure. First understand why, then I will explain it again. See, I told you capital expenditure is for what? We are taking 5 lakh crores and out of 5 lakh crores, 4 lakh crores we are going to spend what? On infra. 1 lakh crores we are going to spend on revenue, for example, health, education, etc. So 4 lakh crore rupees you are going to spend on infrastructure. Infrastructure have a potential to give income or give revenue receipts. So this 4 lakh crore rupees which you have borrowed, when you are going to spend, the objective is what? To create the income. So where you have to show this 4 lakh crores? We have to show this 4 lakh crores under revenue expenditure. Is it clear or not? Where you have to put 4 lakh crores? This part is clear. 4 lakh crores we have to put in the form of capital expenditure because we are going to use this money for infrastructure. Right? Now, if we have borrowed this 5 lakh crore, we have to pay principal amount, that is 5 lakh crore, and interest amount, say amount X. Amount X is the interest. Right? So this amount X, I have in confusion whether I have to put in the revenue expenditure or in the capital expenditure. This is the doubt because principal amount 5 lakh crore, right? Principal amount is a 5 lakh crore, interest amount is X, right? X amount. So the point is where I have to put this money, right? The problem is whether I have to put in the revenue expenditure or I have to put in the capital expenditure. What is the basic definition? Any money which is going to create an asset, you can put it here. Any money which is not going to create an asset and it is a kind of obligatory on you, you have to fulfill, right? Then it will come under the revenue expenditure definition. Interest payment, the interest payment, you have taken the loan. So some people feel that they draw this logic. They draw this logic कि interest payment will also come under the capital expenditure. They draw this logic कि interest payment will also come under the category of capital expenditure. Why? Because we have taken the loan, that's why we are paying the interest. We have taken the loan, that's why we are paying the interest, but we have taken the loan in order to create a capital expenditure. We have taken the loan for capital expenditure. That's why we have to pay the loan. So that is why both will come under this capital expenditure, or at least interest will be coming in the this part. This is wrong. This is wrong. You cannot assume in this way, because here we are doing the accountings, right? And here the norm is what? If that money is going to create an asset, then you can put in the capital expenditure. If this money is not going to create, if this money is not going to create any, this money is not going to create any kind of what? Any kind of income for you, and it is obligatory for you, then it will come under the revenue expenditure. So X will come under the category of what? X amount, that is interest payment, will come under the category of revenue expenditure, whereas capital expenditure, that is 4 lakh crores. For this example, 4 lakh crores will come under this category. Okay, but here one thing you have to pay attention. How much we have borrowed? 5 lakh crores. We have borrowed 5 lakh crores. Out of 5 lakh crores, we are using 4 lakh crores for capital expenditure. That is why we have mentioned here. But 1 lakh crores we are using for the purpose of health and education. That is why X plus 1 lakh crore in this case will come under the revenue expenditure category. But if we have borrowed this 5 lakh crore, an entire amount will go for what? Entire amount will go for only infrastructure. Then this 1 lakh crore will be not here, and here it will be 5 lakh crores. This point is clear. Is this point is clear? RE, no income coming from IA. Okay. Word is saying that, sir, for a budget, is it so that total receipts? Yes, total receipts is equal to total expenditure. No, 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 no. You are paying principal and interest amount simultaneously. But for your accounting purpose, you have to make it very clear, na, ki what amount of money is going for what purpose. What amount of money is going for what purpose? If I am spending 4 lakh crore rupees, that is going to give me the income, right? So I will put in the capital expenditure. That 1 lakh crore, the X amount, that is the interest amount. It is not going to give me any money. So keep this thing in your mind very clearly. Put this thing in your mind very clearly whenever we are talking about what? Whenever we are talking about capital expenditure. If we are spending a single rupee, right? If we are spending a single rupee, right? And with the spending of that single rupee, we are going to, what is the objective? To create income sources. Capital expenditure. Revenue expenditure, it is obligation come liabilities or necessity. So the expenditure which you cannot avoid, you must have to go for it. then it comes under the category of revenue expenditure. If any money is going to fulfill, for example, health. Health. If you are spending any money on health, that is what? That is on building of hospital, building of universities, right? Or you are spending any money to develop a medical college. All these things are going to be what? All these things are going to be for the purpose of fulfilling your requirements, which are necessary in the nature and you cannot avoid, right? You cannot avoid. You cannot avoid, then it come under the category of revenue expenditure. Whereas any expenditure which is having a potential to give you the income in the future, it will come under the category of capital expenditure. What is confusion here? What is confusion here? I told you the principal amount and interest amount. Suppose that, chalo, for your more clarity, you took 4 lakh crores. You took 4 lakh crores and this 4 lakh crores you are going to spend on infra. And X is the amount of what? X is the amount of interest. So interest is always a liability. It is nothing going to give you the principal amount you are going to spend, that is definitely going to give you some income. But interest is an obligation because you have borrowed the money. So interest is always an obligation because you have borrowed. You are nothing going to get from the interest payments. But the principal amount which you are going to spend, then definitely it is going to create what? That definitely it is going to give you the more income in the future if you are going to create a capital. Right? So principal amount will go for what? Principal amount will go for capital expenditure and interest payment will go for what? Interest payment will go for this revenue expenditure. Second scenario. In the first scenario, 4 lakh crores plus X amount, right? This is principal amount and this is interest amount. We are spending this money for infra. So that is why this will come under the category of capital expenditure and this will come under the category of revenue expenditure. Second case, 4 lakh crores plus X amount. This we are going to spend on health. And this is interest payment. So this amount is going to be spent on where? Health. Health is what? It is a kind of necessary expenditure and we cannot consider it what? We cannot consider it for the purpose of what? Income generation. Then this will go in the revenue expenditure and it is also revenue expenditure. So the nature of the spending is going to define where we have to put that money. If its nature is showing that we are going to put this money for income generation, then you have to put in the capital expenditure. If that money is going only for the purpose of what? Only for the purpose of fulfilling the liabilities, fulfilling the necessary expenditure, then automatically it comes under the category of revenue expenditure. It is simple as it is. Capital expenditure or hospital, how hospitals are capital expenditure? How hospital created by the government is a capital expenditure? I'm not talking about a New Life Hospital or I'm not talking about Apollo. I'm not talking about those things. I'm talking about AIMS. Right? Highly subsidized hospital. All the services are provided by the government on highly subsidized rate. If you feel that they are charging the same kind of the services is available in the private hospital at very exorbitant prices. Right? So hospital, whenever the government will build the hospital, the objective of government is not to create an income. Okay. So how hospital will come under the capital expenditure? Hospital will not come under the category of, for example, Ashoka Hotel in Delhi. In Delhi, there is a Ashoka Hotel, and in that hotel, Government of India also have a shareholding, right? Government of India have the shareholdings, right? So if Government of India is having a shareholding and government is going to create another Ashoka Hotel, then it will come under the category of what? Capital expenditure. Why? The hotel is generated for what? Hotel is created for the purpose of income, so that income will come. Hospital, educational institutions, they are not for the purpose of income generation. There is nothing but in the economic terminology, it is just confusing. Is it clear for everybody? The nature of capital expenditure and nature of revenue expenditure is clear. Charu was very confused. Now it is clear or not? Loud and clear. Raj is also saying yes. Got that, sir. No, I am not going to repeat it tomorrow. You must, if you have doubt, let me know. I will be here. I'll clarify that doubt. I'm not going to repeat it tomorrow because I'm already have a lot of things to share. So if you have doubt, ask me. I am here. I was having a one question. Is that person is present in that chat box? He asked me what is the difference between money and something. If you are present, please state your question. I'll clarify. Anjali, clear? Okay. Everybody is clear. Somebody asked me what is the difference between money and the other word was what? Hmm. Aaron was Aaron. Okay, he was asking for between money and capital. So if you have this 100 rupees in your pocket and it will be remain in your pocket for next 10 years, it is going to be money only. And when you are going to put that money, right, put that money at some place from where you will start getting income, right, then it is known as capital. So rather than see what are the things you have to focus is, rather than going for what is it or what is that, try to focus on the definition. We called it capital. Anything. See, right now my voice, my this throat is capital for me because I'm able to earn from it. So this is my capital. My knowledge is my capital. Right? The day you are going to get selected, right? Then you are also going to be what? You will be a capital because you are going to generate the money. So we will call it as a capital which is having a potential or which is creating an income for you, money for you. That is capital. Right? Array, what is little bit? It's crystal, it should be crystal clear. What is doubt? Acha, defense expenditure will come under the category of what? Defense expenditure will come under the category of revenue expenditure. Defense is a necessity or defense is what? Defense is a kind of income generation. We will send our army people to some part of the world and we will say that ki just pay us, otherwise we will destroy your country. We do not use armed forces for that purpose. So defense is going to be the revenue expenditure, right? Acha. Hmm. Okay. If government is going to develop a road, government is going to develop a road in rural area, whereas there is no road connectivity. There is no road connectivity. Right now, see how confusion will come. So government, there is a Pradhan Mantri Sadak Yojana. Pradhan Mantri Sadak Yojana. So Pradhan Mantri Sadak Yojana is suppose that announced and government say that we will connect all villages. We will collect all the villages where the road connectivity is not available. Right. So government has announced that 1000 crore we are going to spend. Now, as per definition, we know that infra will come under the category of capital expenditure. No, this is not definition. I told you definition is what? Any money which is having a potential to generate income for you in the future. Right. Then it will be the capital expenditure. And this is why we generally put infrastructure. Generally, we put infrastructure in the capital expenditure. But when government announced that ki under Pradhan Mantri Sadak Yojana, we are going to connect the villages which are not connected with the road. So this road is not for the purpose of what? To generate the income. This road is a primary requirement for the village people. Okay, this road is a primary requirement for the village people. That is why the money allocated 1000 crore will be part of revenue expenditure. Whereas if the same money is allocated Pradhan Mantri Sadak Yojana, this money is allocated to connect Mumbai Delhi, connect to Delhi Mumbai. Then this 1000 crore rupees is not going to be the revenue expenditure. It is going to be definitely what? Capital expenditure. Yes, CE on any spending on the NH, it is definitely going to be what? It is definitely going to be capital expenditure. But if money is going to be spent in the village, right? Money is going to be spent in the village for the Gram Sabha building, or they are going to build the road, or they are going to create a pond there. So these are the very basic things that is going to be categorized what? Revenue expenditure. So you just don't think that expenditure will be always a revenue expenditure. This expenditure will be always a capital expenditure. See the nature of expenditure. What is the nature? This nature is for the essential requirement, or the nature is for fulfilling so that we can generate the income in the future. It will come under the category of what? Capital expenditure. Yes, for rural area it is RE and capital. If somebody will see the chat right now, they are going to get out of mind what is happening here. RECE. This thing is going on. People are going to be mad. But it's fine, means somebody call you as a mad, don't get offended, because most of the times what happened, if people not able to understand you, they will call you mad. Okay, so it's absolutely no offense if somebody is calling you as a mad, just to put a smile and make him further mad. Right? And always feel that this man or this woman do not have the ability to understand me, that's why they are calling me a mad. So most of the mad, all the scientists, they are called as a mad at their time. Right. So if somebody is calling you the mad, don't worry, just enjoy. So I don't want to leave this session, but almost it's a 10:30. It's yes, it's not almost, it's a 10:30. So we will continue tomorrow. Right. We will continue tomorrow. And in next class, as I explained revenue expenditure and capital expenditure, I will tell you how it is presented in the parliament and how it is passed. Right? Okay, thank you to all of you. Bye and good night. We will meet tomorrow for this session. Okay.